Ms. Gandhi, thank you for taking my invitation and accepting to speak with me. I'd like to do a quick introduction about you. Most people should know you. You've been a pioneering voice for decades as former union minister, a eight-time member of parliament, and the founder of People for Animals. And this is India's largest animal welfare organization. Your work has, I understand, shaped many laws and policies that protect animals in our country. And you continue to be one of the most outspoken and respected advocates for both compassion and science in public policy. And which is the reason I thought I should speak with you, because a lot of people like me are entirely confused. I live in Dehradun and we are looking at all the news, and it's confusing because huge debate. On one hand, the citizens are worried about rising dog bites and rabies cases. And on the other hand, the Supreme Court has recently passed an order that could change the way street dogs live in our cities forever. What I want to do today is really go beyond the noise and ask, what does this really mean for us, for public health, for animals themselves? So, firstly, what is your first response to Supreme Court's recent directive on capturing and sheltering all street dogs in Delhi?
Well, it'll just create the very problem it seeks to avoid. I'll give you the simplest answer. Let's suppose they're rounding up dogs. In the event that they manage to create these mythical shelters anywhere in India, and after they create them, they round up 500 dogs at a time and they put them into the shelter. And one of those 500 dogs has rabies. And when they picked him up, they did not know, and he did not know he had rabies. So they put him there, and then you have 500 dogs with rabies. And if the watchman goes to sleep or he runs for his life when they start showing symptoms, because they're going to be roaming free in these shelters, then they're going to escape. And you have 500 dogs on the road with rabies. Tell me that. So this is going to create a scare, and it's going to create the problem that it seeks to avoid. 500 dogs in one place, escaping, biting, with rabies. Happy birthday.
Sounds scary right at the start of this
Absolutely.
conversation.
Absolutely. For many
Yeah.
years now, rabies has been absent for 3 years and then has come with just 54 cases across India. India, with 1.4, 1.5 billion people, has 54 cases of rabies. When I think about 2,000 people are killed every week by cars. So, I'm not underplaying just 54. Even one case of rabies is enough to scare everybody because it's
Yeah.
not curable. But can you imagine every shelter coming out with 500 to 1,000 dogs of rabies?
That itself should be a reason to start to question this. But isn't there an earlier law passed by Parliament about managing street dogs? I mean,
Just a year ago, less than a year ago, there was a similar two-person bench of Supreme Court judges who ruled that the ABC rules should be followed and done much better, which is a sensible, rational thing to say. Because the reason why we're in this problem is because the rules have not been followed as they should have. And because government has not put 1 rupee into it. After all, when they were doing polio removal, the government was spending 700 crores a week for 11 years. And now you have another problem, but you haven't put 1 rupee into it for 25 years. And whatever money the local municipalities had have gone more than 50% into somebody's pocket. So that judgment was a sane, sensible judgment.
I'm not a legal expert, but I do know that the numbers around dog bites and rabies are all over the place. And naturally, I mean, anyone would be scared. So, from your
No, wait a minute.
perspective,
Wait a minute. The
yeah.
numbers of dog bites and stuff get increased by the minute. Firstly, let's just start with the most bizarre number. Somebody says there are 15 crores dogs, somebody says there are 25,000 million dogs. Well, how many dogs are there? According to the number of dogs can be calculated like this: 1 is to 100 humans. Now, if we have 1.4 billion people, then you have 1.4 crore dogs across India. That's a handleable figure. Then come to the dog bites. Some minister got up in parliament last year and said that the number of bites are 37 lakh, right? Which means that almost half the dogs that exist have bitten somebody, which, as you know, doesn't make sense at all. But however, let's look at these bites. When somebody gets bitten by a dog, they go to get themselves a rabies vaccination, which is divided into 5 injections. Now, the problem with the hospital is that they count every single injection as one bite. So if you have 37 lakh bites, you have to divide that straight away with 5.
So are
So
you
you
telling me
count,
each time they give that shot, they
yeah,
count it as one dog has bitten?
yeah.
Hmm.
So you have 37 divided by 5. So that brings you straight to 7.2 lakhs. Out of those 7.2 lakhs, there is absolutely no data which is official, which says how many were not needed at all because they were bitten by pet dogs. Pet dogs are already vaccinated because nobody will keep dogs in their house unless they give them rabies vaccines.
Yeah.
So, but the unofficial count is 70-30. So out of 7.2 lakhs, only 2 lakhs then are left as street dog bites because the rest are pet dog bites. Now, why does a pet dog bite? Because he is trained to look after his master. So if somebody comes into their house, his first reaction would be to bite. And very often they do. Secondly, people keep the most absurd dogs. Great Danes, German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Swiss Pyrenees, Dojo Argentinos, the size of the rooms they live in. And these dogs are trained to be free all the time. They have to be exercised a huge amount because otherwise their energy goes into protection. They're already highly strung. They're inbred and they bite. When the government banned, and sensibly so, banned 20 breeds like Pakistani bully dogs from being sold, at that time the breeders went to court and got a stay, and the government hasn't even challenged the stay. So, to come back to the point, 70% are by dogs who are owned, and 30% is by street animals. Remember this, a street dog is not stupid by any degree. He knows that when he bites a human, that's probably going to be his last day on earth. So he will choose a time and a place to bite when he is sorely, sorely, sorely upset with life himself. He's not well. He's got distemper coming in. He's got parvo. And the main reason for the bite is just one, and that is he's been picked up and relocated. So he doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know where his food has come from. He's with the new people. The local dogs are attacking him. The watchman is saying, get out, get out. He's completely dizzy with being unhappily treated. So he bites. After all, the only defense a dog has is his mouth. He's not going to slam you with a slap on your face. So he bites. If they would just stop relocation, the bites would stop. It has nothing to do with an increase in dogs. As a matter of fact, the government figures are that this year the dogs have decreased from last year. The dogs are on a downward path for many reasons. The first reason being that out of the 4 to 6 puppies that a female dog has, only one will survive. The rest will get parvo, be run over, starved, beaten, put in a sack, and relocated. So it's not even a dog for dog replacement, it's one child. Secondly, sterilization is having an effect. In cities that have done it properly, even in cities that haven't done it properly, it is developed into a reduction. We talk about dogs in Delhi. There were 8 lakh dogs in 1987. There are 3 lakh dogs now. I mean, ABC people and government people keep saying 10 lakh, 10 lakh, 10 lakh. I would be very happy if they would find 10 lakh. So the dog population is not increasing, it's decreasing. But what people are upset about is that new dogs are coming up in their colony all the time. And the reason for that is simply two. One, the rich RWAs bring in illegal vans every night and take out these 5 or 6 dogs that lurk around with 500 flats. And then they throw them into poor people's colonies. The bites are coming from middle class, lower middle class, and poor people, not from rich people. And the reason why is because the dogs are being thrown there. The second is the MCD. Now, to give you an example, the MCD of Delhi, the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, in its own center, civic center, where they have offices, had 55 dogs for 10 years. All of them are old, decrepit, and being fed by the Income Tax Chief Commissioner of Delhi. Okay? 1 week ago, the MCD, Ashwini Kumar, had a fit and picked up all 55 and went and threw them into other colonies. Now that's 55 more bites added to Delhi.
We had scientific solutions have existed to control rabies and safeguard people's health. And I mean, what about ABC, the animal birth control? I mean, has it worked?
It's been
Not
done
worked? Do
properly.
people even know?
There are 2-3 things that are wrong with it. Not 2-3 things, many things. One is, as a rule, it's a brilliant rule. As the laws exist, they're brilliant laws. But there are 5 or 6 things. One is, government has put in no money into ABC centers. Wherever government has put money, as in Dehradun or in Lucknow, the operation has gone beautifully, with 80 to 100% of dogs being sterilized without any fuss. Where they have not made centers, it hasn't gone well. 2, wherever centers are made, they're made with Urban Development Ministry putting in the money, and 50% of that money is always stolen. So, for instance, in Bhopal, in Indore, in Kanchipuram, you have dirty little ABC centers built in the middle of a sewage pit where you throw your garbage the whole day. This is a hospital. They can't possibly work. Number 3, in Delhi, the ABC centers are leaking at the roof, don't have drainage systems, have no electricity. So how do you expect them to work? Okay, number 4 problem. Suppose we had a brilliant center, but now you've given it to an NGO who is a second cousin of the health department. It doesn't even have a doctor. In Muradabad, there were CCTVs recorded. Only sweepers doing the operations, only. Six sweepers sitting and doing 6 operations per half an hour, all of which died. Now, where you give the ABC contracts carelessly, you have the ABC is working in about 350 districts at the moment, of which 325 would be absolute rubbish NGOs who are not trained, not recognized, petrol pump owners, retired MCD people, as in Delhi, who need to have some money coming their way. Okay? Unrecognized NGOs, mafia NGOs. You know what they do is they register one name, like Santulan, and then they apply for 20 contracts in cities as far off as Bihar, Kashmir, Rajasthan, Aurangabad. And then they give it to other people who just pay them for the use of the registered name, but don't have doctors, don't have staff. So your ABC has no training, no ABC centers, and the money is divided. The whole program is divided to all sorts of people. The Animal Husbandry Department controls the Animal Welfare Board, which regulates the program. But the money is given by the Urban Development Ministry. Okay, so there's no control. Animal husbandry cannot tell urban development what to do. All they can do is step in and say, no, that's going wrong, you can stop it. But why weren't they satark from get-go?
I'm drinking from a fire hose, and I'm just thinking, I'm doing this interview so people like me who are not as seeped into the entire situation get some sense of what's happening. And I'm saying, since this order has come, it requires capturing, sheltering, caring for hundreds of dogs. And you've told me what are the
No.
challenges.
Capturing, sheltering, and caring for lakhs of dogs. Lakhs.
Lakhs of dogs. Yes.
Because the order is that you have to pick up every single dog.
I
So
mean,
you
I
have to
don't
pick
see
up
how.
3 lakh dogs.
Yeah, I don't
Suppose you
foresee
pick up 3
how you
lakh
will.
dogs in Delhi. Suppose you pick
Yeah.
up 3 lakh dogs in Delhi. In order to house those 3 lakh, just take 3 lakh as a figure, maybe more, maybe less. You have to have 3,000
I mean, do we have the
centers.
infrastructure?
No, do we have 3,000 acres of land or half acres of land?
Why?
Each half
That's,
acre of land in Delhi costs 100 crores.
yeah.
So then you divert hundreds and hundreds of crores. Then you have to build very high walls. Then you cannot build them in colonies, because if you built one next to me with 100 dogs shouting the whole night, I would have a fit. So where do you have to find 3,000 places to build, which are not near humans at all, and yet not on agricultural land because nobody's going to give you theirs. Then you build high walls, and inside you have to employ a minimum of 5 people to clean up the feces and the urine, because they're going to be doing nothing except defecating and urinating the whole day. They have nothing else to do. So you have to keep cleaning. You have to make a drainage system. You have to give them electricity. You have to give them water. You have to have a kitchen. You have to have a cook. You have to have a watchman so that they don't run off. You have to have a
I mean, the
vet on
economics
duty.
is staggering just to think of it. I mean, if
It's
3,000 of those places need to go
15,000
up,
crores.
where will the money come from?
Well, the entire budget of Delhi is exactly double that. So they spend
Yeah, I
half of its
mean,
budget there.
it's quite bizarre because the content we are getting right now is from social media, which is why I thought I should speak with you. There's also the ethical perspective. How should Delhi really balance human safety with animal welfare? I mean, anyone can sit there and say, "Yeah, remove everything." Tomorrow you find another, situation like this. I mean,
No, wait a minute.
finally
This
you
is
got to
not
go back
tomorrow
to
you
saying,
find.
well, what kind of a society do we want to be?
I'm saying that you don't have to wait for tomorrow to find another situation. If you remove the 3 lakh dogs from Delhi and put them into these mythical centers, within a week you will have 3 lakh more. And why? Because all beings gravitate towards food, whether it's an ant or you, me, or a dog. So all the dogs that are periphery at the moment of NCR, from Ghaziabad, Faridabad, Meerut, and any place that's 100 within 100 kilometers will come here. Why? Because you have over 50,000 illegal chicken and meat shops operating. So there's enough food going on,
Mhm.
enough. Plus, you have over 2 lakh or 3 lakh feeders who would be happy to feed whoever comes in. So you'll just get
Hmm.
1 week hiatus. So there's no question of ridding the place of dogs, firstly. Secondly, what is the problem you will create? Delhi has got 26,000 monkeys. They stay on the trees because they're scared of dogs. And I know this because in my house, I had 17 dogs and we had 15 monkeys. And the 15 monkeys in 30 years never came down. And
Hmm.
when I removed the dogs for 2 months, within 3 days, the monkeys were sitting outside my kitchen waiting to get in. We have removed 16,000 monkeys and put them in a place called Asola. Now the
Hmm.
government is planning that if they do not get any shelters, they will pick up the dogs and throw them in Asola. So when they throw them in Asola, the 16,000 monkeys will come back to Delhi. So you've just done dog for dog, dog for monkey trades.
Yeah, I'm realizing
It's not practical.
what happens is that we, get so lost in the details of things, trying to prove one or the other. I want to focus back on the fact that if there are dogs in our cities, where do they need to live? And are there any international examples? What do more humane societies do? What does this kind of a decision and people supporting it tell us about ourselves?
Well, there are many examples. Let's start with the strange ones, okay? Paris, 1880, killed all the dogs and cats because they said there were too many. Within a week, they had to clear out of Paris. because their sewers were full of rats. So everybody's house was being overrun. So they just had to move out, and then they had to import both these species back in. Number one. Number two, this happened, I think, in one city, I forget the name, in America. Again, they had to do it all over, I think Baltimore. They had to get all the dogs and cats back. Then here, it happened here in 1994. Mr. Panchhi, you and I were alive then, so we know. If you remember, the municipal commissioner of Surat said he was going to clean up the city and wipe all the dogs out. So he did. And in 2 weeks, he killed the dogs. Having killed the dogs, within 2 weeks, Surat was run over by rats this big. And they were no longer scared of their predators. They're not scared of humans because we're not their predators. Their predators are dogs and cats. They came overground because there was enough food at the garbage cans. And once they came above ground, they started biting the people. 3 people, if you remember, got plague. Now, that's one of the deadliest diseases in the world. And if you remember, this predated COVID when we were all running around with masks on our face. All the imports and exports of India stopped. Tourism stopped for 2 years. We were headlines all over the world for having discovered plague. And why? Because of one city. So these are the bad examples. These are what will happen when the dogs are removed. But the good example is the Netherlands. The Netherlands had 1 million stray dogs. So what they did was they passed a law making it illegal for anyone to be cruel to them. They started taxing anybody who kept foreign breed dogs whom they bought. They gave incentives to adopt dogs. And within a few years, there were no street dogs left without killing. So there are examples.
If you were advising the Supreme Court, I don't know if they've reached out to you, what alternative order would you have recommended?
I would have said, put the MCD people who've been running this program into jail and make brilliant ABC centers. Train your NGOs, train them, recognize them properly. 2, train street feeders and give them feeding spots instead of letting them feed all over the place. Number 4, put monitoring committees at your ABC centers so that they can see whether the ABC center is fudging or not. Till now, the main problem has been that when a businessman takes the ABC center or a retired MCD official, he does 10 operations and he writes 100. And 90, he just puts the money into his pocket, which is why he took the center. So all the figures of ABCs are wrong and have been wrong for a long time. The ministry or the government, whichever government it's been, has never allowed monitoring committees. So there is nobody to find out what on earth is happening inside that center. So it's been one fudge from beginning to end for 25 years. Every year they say that they have sterilized 50,000 or 1 lakh dogs. By now they should have been done with it. There's 25 lakh dogs supposedly sterilized. But it hasn't happened. So I would recommend making really good ABC centers, cutting them down. We don't need 20, we need 10. And we need 10 really good ones. After all, Lucknow only has 1. Dehradun only has 1. And they've managed to do excellent jobs.
So it is not that answers don't exist.
No, not only answers exist, but where they have been carried out, they have done extremely well.
I think the entire narrative has become, it almost seems like dogs versus humans, not realizing that there is a lack of scientific work that has happened. ABC Center, for example, lack of accountability in terms of who we've outsourced it to.
We are saying the science is sterilization. Every vet has said sterilization. The WHO has said sterilization. Other countries have done sterilization and it's worked. So everybody points in this direction. Simply saying, do the sterilization properly. At the moment, it's corrupt and third rate, and it has no money in it at all. They tender it, which should never be done. I have recommended again and again, you put the same price across India and just look at the technical merits of the NGO. Instead, they tender it. In Gurgaon, there is a man who's taken the tender for the last 6 years, who has killed almost every dog that he has operated on, who is doing it for 700 rupees. 700 rupees is simply the cost of the anesthesia. What about the sutures, the antibiotics, the cost of the doctor, the paravets, the catchers, the electricity, the water, the food you have to give them? So why did he get that bid? Because everybody else bid sensibly at 1600 and he bid at 700. So they gave it to him. So this bidding must stop. It has to be the same price, just one price for all across India, taking everything into consideration. These are some of the suggestions I would give them. In fact, the odd part is that in 25 years, no government has ever asked us, all right, even though we started the program. What they've done is carried on their own, done whatever they've done on their own, and made a mess of it. This is the first time that a government has attempted to ask us. And 2 weeks before this judgment came, the government of Delhi started interacting with all of us and saying, what can we do that will bring the bites down, the numbers down, and make them less agitated? And we gave them a 14-point program. And that 14-point program they agreed to. And this was just done last Friday. And on Monday, the judgment came, which is now thrown everybody into a tears. And now, instead of doing ABC, has stopped the ABC program because to align themselves with this judgment, they're picking up dogs at random and putting them into the ABC centers. The ABC centers are just 2 rooms, and that too 2 red patia rooms. So now they are stuffed with dogs that are already sterilized, dogs that don't need to be sterilized. And since they've stuffed those with those, they have no space to do the actual operations. So the program has ground to a complete halt.
People want to understand this issue better and to get first-hand compassionate understanding of what to do than agitating. And this requires a lot of energy. What can we do from a distance? How do we get more information? Where can we get it from?
At the moment, we are all in limbo. The moment they give a ruling, hopefully it will be scientifically studied. The best lawyers in India have appeared before it. Every argument has been made. Mounds of evidence have been given to them. There's a hiatus in which the governments can do whatever they want. But sooner or later, hopefully, if they give a reasoned and rational judgment, which simply says it can't say anything else, it will say, make the ABC centers in all 700 districts properly, train the NGOs properly, make monitoring committees of local feeders properly, stop illegal meat shops and chicken shops, and license them. And most importantly, stop pet shops. From 2018 to now, not a single pet shop has been checked. Not a single pet shop has been closed. All that happened was that their haftas went up for the municipality. Now, they have done a recce for the first time in Punjab. And in just 5 districts of Punjab, they have found 800 pet shops, all of which are serviced by 25 breeders, all of which are selling the big dogs, dojos, and especially bully dogs. Now, bully dogs are an invention of Punjab. But I'm saying, having done the exercise of counting each pet shop, they've stopped short of saying now you can't sell dogs anymore. Each pet shop is selling massive amounts of biting dogs. So this I would, if I had to give suggestions to the people who want harmony on the streets without their children being threatened, I would definitely say these 5 or 6 things.
Yeah, thank
What
you
is the
for.
option? The option is thousands of dogs roaming on the street with rabies. That is what will happen. 54 cases? No, 54 lakh cases. So there was another effort to say, oh, all the people who love dogs are elitist. No, they're all rich people. Do they want to come out and actually look on the road? Women, lone women who have, got a job as a typist will come back, have one meal a day of a sandwich, and will feed 30 dogs. And she's attacked every night. There will be 2 men standing there with their wives to protect them, and they will hit her. These, it's the situation for feeders is life threatening, but they still do it. What is so elitist about them? They don't go in cars and do it, they walk. Har gali mein, since COVID to now, every single gully in Sultanpur, in Meerut, in Uttar Dinajpur has got a feeder. So if you have 500,000 villages, you have something like 500,000 feeders minimum. And none of them are elite. I'd like to see one rich person come out and feed a dog. In fact, it's the rich RWAs that have John cowed us by calling in vans at night and picking up the dogs and throwing them into poor colonies.
As this progresses, I might come back and understand the situation better with you. Yeah,
There are
I'm
no nuanced.
expecting people who hear our conversation to come back with questions and ask for clarifications. And like I said in your introduction, you are one of the most outspoken advocates of animal welfare in India. So I did not expect anything other than what you said. But I'm also
Yes. No, the
immensely
thing is,
concerned about the way the narrative is being built. So it's important for us to keep having this conversation with people as the questions emerge. So if I may, I'm going to make a list of all the questions that seem, why is it that people are not getting it? But we must answer them with the same compassion because people get confused. There's just so much happening, and
let's
just put
just
a.
start at the very beginning.
Hmm.
Does any human being want to get bitten?
No, of
My
course not.
mother, my mother went to her friend's house one day. She was 72, she had cancer.
Hmm.
And when she was leaving, the friend's 3 Shih Tzus bit one leg to bits. I was so angry. I was so angry. So I can imagine every single person in India or anywhere in the world whose child has been bitten or whose mother has been bitten. She would feel the same kind of anger. But then we have to look beyond it and say, how do we stop this so that it never happens again? So my answer to this is, what are we doing with Shih Tzus in India? What are we doing with foreign pet dogs who are inbred, unhappy, badly exercised, and are dying to hurt somebody? Let's start with basic questions like that. See, I'm not an animal welfare person. I'm somebody whose heart opens for everybody. I run orphanages for children. I stopped child labor in carpets. I was not an 8-time MP because I just love animals. For me, the being for me is the same. That light that shines is the same in all beings. I love ants as much as I love elephants, as much as I love people.
Yeah.
So the point is, I studied the science. They can do without us. We can't do without them. Let me give you just one more point. We studied a police teaching to their recruits and that was how to anticipate where a crime is going to take place. And one of the things they say that shows you the way that a crime is anticipated here before it happens is when the dogs get poisoned in a street. Because if they remove the dogs, the gang can then attack somebody's house and rob it without feeling afraid. Because when they come to the gully at 1 o'clock at night, the dogs are going to set up a howl and wake everybody up. So when you remove the dogs, what are you going to do with the crime wave that takes place? I mean, it's a thief's dream to remove all the dogs. These are the questions we need to look at. The simple ones. How will I be able to deal with a monkey bite, which is 100 times more targeted and vicious than a dog bite? These are the things that will happen. So it's not a question of no animal welfare person in India is solely for animals. All of them feed their parents. All of them look after their neighbors. It was the animal welfare people who got women the vote. They went to court. Anjali Gopalan has been running animal shelters long before she went to court. I went to court when I was 18 and won the case called Maneka Gandhi versus State, which has defined modern India's freedoms. That's my case. So which animal welfare person has done only for animals?
Thank you very much. I think I will be back soon. We discussed law and order and how we can, use that here. We discussed science and versus fear. We discussed a little bit of the ethics behind all this. And I wish I could end on a better note, but this has to be completed. I mean, this is not just about dog, right? It's about the kind of society we want to be. How do we react to fear? How do we use force? And do we choose science and compassion,
I
or do
think I have
we be?
total faith in the Supreme Court. Therefore, I expect them to live up to my faith.
Anyway, this is not just a Delhi issue anymore. It's become an India issue. It's become an issue of ethics. It's become an issue of humanity. So I'm glad that these conversations are happening, because these conversations also impact so many other people who say, well, if all these people who love dogs and care about animals can stand up, maybe we want to stand up about what we feel good about, or
Yeah,
not good about.
absolutely.
Yeah, but thank you very much, Ms. Gandhi. I appreciate you finding time to speak with me, and I shall be back soon with more questions as our listeners ask them. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.